Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Things I Wish I Knew About. This is a solo episode for me. It's just me hanging out by myself with all of you. And I'm going to talk to you today about things I wish I knew about meal planning. Now, this doesn't sound maybe like something that you can do on a podcast because you're listening and not watching, but I have so many notes. This is my jam. You know, I love food. Maybe you don't know I love food. Listen, if you've never heard me before, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Stacey and I like to cook. I wrote a profanity filled comedy cookbook about how terrible it can be to feed kids called You'll Eat It and You'll Like It. And I've been cooking my whole life. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older and had children really that I was like, shit, I got to get my when it comes to cooking and meal planning because I am the primary cook. I'm the only cook. My wife, God bless, she's an angel and has other skills. This is my skill. So today I'm going to share with you all of the things, all of the tips and tricks that I utilize and use to meal plan and to make my life as easy as possible. These are not fail safe, but hopefully some of these will be a little bit helpful to you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 of them. 8 tips that I wrote down here on my notebook. You can't see if you're not watching YouTube, but I have 8 tips. I'm going to go through them all. Maybe you'll hear some that you already know about. Maybe you'll find some new ones, but the hope is that this will be helpful and it's going to make your life, cooking, what have you, a little bit easier. So let's jump right into it with what feels like the most obvious, but is probably the most underutilized of all of these tips, and that is the plan ahead. I know, guys, you're busy. I'm busy. You have shit to do. Things are happening, rehearsals, practices, your life, work, whatever. But if you can plan ahead, if you can carve out 20 minutes, realistically, you're going to need 20 minutes and plan out your week. I promise you that in itself, if you do none of these other tips and you just plan ahead, you're winning already. You're ahead of the game. So I will sit down on my Monday, but let's say Sunday for you, and I will look at the week ahead. So we have a shared Google Calendar in my classroom. That's another hot tip. If you are not on a family calendar, I don't know how you're existing because there is way too much going on in my family of 4, and there's no way we could do it without a calendar. But step number 1, have a home calendar or a Google Calendar or whatever the case may be, and look at your calendar for the week. What does it look like? Is anybody working late? Are there days where you have practice? Do you have scheduled dinners already with friends? What is that going to look like? So I look at my week and I figure out what days I have everybody home, what days I have some of us home. My son works. He also lives with his dad part-time. What does the calendar week actually look like? And then from there, I know how many dinners I need to plan. I'm specifically speaking about dinners. I'm not meal prepping breakfast. You know what I mean? Like grab your cereal, get the heck out of here. So for dinners, how many am I making this week? And then once I know how many, then I can kind of decide the difficulty level, if that makes sense. Like if there's a night where I need to bring my son to practice, that is either a slow cooker meal or an easy peasy kind of 30-minute situation. If there's a night where we don't have anything, like after school, we're kind of just home for the night, maybe I'll do a homemade chicken finger, something that's a little bit more labor intensive. But I'm going to look at my week ahead and I'm going to plan. If I fail to plan, I plan to fail. And if this is something that's just as simple as you writing it down, like today we're going to have spaghetti, tomorrow is whatever, Thursday was, then you can just glance at that list. You can put that up somewhere, probably in your kitchen. Maybe it's just for you. Put it up somewhere so that when you come home and you're exhausted on a Wednesday night, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to pull that thing out of the freezer and pop it in the Instant Pot and we're good to go. So tip number 1, definitely plan ahead. That is a non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned. You're going to be very successful if you can nail that one. Okay, number 2, let's do a theme night. And this doesn't have to be something crazy, but this takes a lot of the brain power out of what you're going to be doing. So maybe that for you looks like Taco Tuesday. There's no planning required. You know that on Tuesday, you're going to have tacos. Maybe you change up the variety. Maybe you have beef tacos. Maybe you do birria tacos. Maybe it's chicken fajitas. Maybe you do lentils, whatever. But on Tuesdays, you're going to have tacos. Maybe Fridays is pizza, whatever. You get what I'm saying? if you can kind of have a consistency, I'm calling it a theme, but if you can have a consistency in the theme of your meals for the week, that takes the brain power out of it. And that's really where all of this stress comes from. It does for me, at least. I kid you not, as soon as I wake up in the morning, as soon as I wake up and I come downstairs and I pour my coffee, I am immediately thinking about dinner. Immediately. Does something need to be pulled out of the freezer? Do I need to pick something up from the grocery store? What's the situation? And I wish that that wasn't the reality, but that's what it is, you know? So to clear up some of that brain space, if it's a Tuesday and I'm like, "Oh, it's tacos. So maybe I need to pull out some ground beef. Maybe I need to pick up some tortillas, whatever the situation is. But if you can schedule in a themed something, maybe it's only one night a week, but that's going to take a lot of the brain power out and you're already ahead of the game for one night of the week. So tip number 2, theme night. Number 3, we are going to utilize our leftovers. I am a big fan of batch cooking. This kind of goes into the next one about our freezer, but leftovers, guys, they are no joke. I love a leftover, especially one that I can freeze and then come back to. So this for me would look something like maybe on a Sunday, if you are married to an Italian or if you are Italian, this will be very familiar. We have sugo Sundays, and sugo is sauce in Italian. So there's like a slow roasted big pot of pasta sauce that takes a while to simmer and cook and get delicious. But once it's done, I have enough sauce to feed my entire street. So what I do is I take the sauce that we're going to have for dinner, put that aside, and then I portion out frozen sauce so that I have it ready to go. You know, that's I mean technically a leftover because I cooked a huge amount and then I can put that aside. This really does go into freezer, so I'm going to combine these. So leftovers and freezers. Same thing if you're making anything, right? Like if you can batch these into larger chunks of food. Oh my God, friends, let's say you're making a shepherd's pie. Maybe you make 2, maybe a pop-up. You're peeling to potatoes anyway. You know what I'm saying? You're peeling the potatoes, you're making the mashed potato, you're doing all this stuff anyway. If you can make 2 of them at the same time and then pop one in the freezer, come on. That's miraculous. I also do the same thing with like proteins. So I'll make a huge batch of ground beef. Like I'll fry up 2 to 3 pounds. So then that's in the freezer, ready to go. It's so much faster if you have something all set and then you're like, oh my God, there's my taco meat. One step done. Not that it takes forever to fry up beef, but it's like, it's just one less thing that you can add to your things, or that could be the whole meal. This works especially well with chicken breast. I always make chicken breast. My wife likes to take it to work, but I could use that for dinners too, right? I could throw those in with some peppers and some seasoning, and then I have fajitas. You know, I can do different rolls. I could make a mac and cheese with chicken, and I have it ahead of time. So if I can plan ahead in a way that's like batched, but also leftovers, that takes a ton of the guesswork out of it as well. So I like to have those proteins available. Listen, full transparency, life happens, right? Sometimes you plan on making something and you're like, nah, I fucked up. I'm not going to make that thing. But if I have chicken ready to go, if I have something already prepped in my fridge, the leftovers, then I can use those for something else, right? We're all about repurposing. We want to make this as easy as possible. How can I make my life easier? That's the whole plan here, because there's enough going on, you know? You got enough going on. Let's not make dinner anything that it doesn't have to be any more difficult than it has to be. Okay, next. So the next one I had was freezer, but we kind of already touched on that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with hopping into your freezer and grabbing something that you've cooked ahead of time, or something that you haven't cooked. Oh my God. Maybe you have like chicken nuggets in there that you're going to cook off, but you made a fresh salad, right? Utilize your freezer in this. There's so much that you can do with this, with leftovers and batch cooking and everything. If you're not on my newsletter list, head over to my website, staceygreenliving.com. And if you sign up for the newsletter, I'm going to send you 5 freezer to slow cooker recipes. I love my slow cooker. I love putting something in it in the morning and then not thinking about it. If I know that dinner is done, that is 25% of the space that my brain is using. Gone. It's done. I'm like, oh, dinner's taken care of? What? Let's go get a massage. What a relief. But I made these recipes specifically I have 2 of them in my freezer right now. I have a balsamic beef and I have a honey garlic chicken because I batched a large amount of them. Go to Costco, get yourself a big old container of the chicken breast, portion them out, and then make yourself the freezer meal so that it is as simple as pulling the bag out the night before and then popping it in your slow cooker the morning of, you know? If you can use your freezer, that's guys, what a dream. On that note, another hot tip that I have that's not really menu planning, but it kind of is. I will go to the store and buy I generally go to the farmer's market, but if I have a big ass bag of onions, let's say a big old ass of onions. No, a bag of onions. I will chop those up, chop the whole bag, use your food processor if you have one. If you don't, chop them up, no big deal. And then I will put those in a freezer safe bag and pop them in the freezer so that when I'm cooking, I can just pull out my frozen onions and throw them in my recipe. I have that. I do that with onions, carrots, celery. Sometimes I'll do a combination one, mirepoix, if you will, which is like the base for all soups and stews. It's onion, carrot, celery. So I have one where they're all combined, and then I have one of just onions, and then one of just red peppers. If you can find something on sale, if you can go to a farmer's market, if you have an explosion in your garden, your freezer is a gold mine. You're just going to do, again, we're going to plan ahead. We're going to do a little bit of prep, freeze the excess that we have. And that cuts down so much of your time if you can just add in your frozen veg to whatever you happen to be cooking, right? Huge, huge, huge time saver. Another thing that I use my freezer for. Next, we are going to repeat our family's favorite meals. Again, full transparency, guys. I wrote a cookbook. There are 82 recipes in that cookbook. I am not rotating through 82 recipes. You know what I mean? My family has favorites that we make consistently. And I'm not saying we make them 5 days in a week. There is nothing wrong with you repeating your family's favorites. Over here, we have tacos a lot. We make Big Mac tacos a lot, shepherd's pie, pasta, different kinds of pastas. I make that a lot. There's different soups that I make. I make stir fry, much to my family's chagrin. There are things that I rotate. And then we sprinkle in maybe once a week something new, something I want to try, something that I'm like, oh, I saw this recipe for that thing that looks cool on a day that I have time to do it. But we are absolutely repeating meals in this house. You know what your kids like. You know what your partner likes. You know what you like. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as you should. Come on. Nobody is making a difference. Every chef that you have ever seen or met or whatever is not making different meals every night of the week. That is ludicrous. Ludacris the rapper is not making different meals. I bet you his chef is also not making different meals every night of the week. It's just not practical, and you don't want to. You have your own family faves, so plan on repeating meals. Don't make this something crazy and difficult. If there's a day that you want to try something new, sure, do it on a Saturday when you have the time to let something simmer all day. You give it a shot, whatever. Repeat meals. That will make your meal planning 1,000 times easier. That kind of circles back to the like Taco Tuesday, the theme, right? Repeat the ones that you like. And it doesn't have to be an alliteration. I do like Taco Tuesday, Waffle Wednesday, Tuna Thursday, Fishy Friday. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be like that. But use the favorites that your family has and put them in there consistently, because that's definitely what I do. All right. Next, we're whipping through these. This is going to be just such a boom, boom short episode. Oh, man, maybe I need another cup of coffee. It's 12:30. It's too late. All right, let's keep going here. Shop your kitchen is my next tip. You might think that you don't have any food. I guarantee you that you do. I guarantee you that you do. Have you ever seen that meme? I was just talking to somebody about this, or I guess it's not a meme, it's a video. It's like, go to the store, buy another hoisin sauce, get home, put it beside your other like you always have like 400 hoisin sauces. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's salsa. I always buy salsa. I don't know why. I have like 4 jars of salsa in my pantry right now. I don't even like salsa. I use it and stuff, but I did not shop my pantry is the moral of that story. So go into your kitchen, see what you have. What's in your freezer? What's in the bottom of your freezer that you thought that was long gone? That you're like, no, I don't have anything in there. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. I sure do. I have a pork tenderloin that I haven't thought about. Whip it in the slow cooker and make yourself some pulled pork. Go through your kitchen is the point. Making, whether it's a mental list, ideally it would be like a physical list. You could even write something on the outside. Keep an ongoing list. I did that for my freezer because I have a garage freezer. Guys, oh my God. What's happening today? I have a garage freezer because again, I married an Italian and that is what you do. And I forget what's out there. So on the outside of it, I put one of those like dry erase boards. And every time I put something in it or I take something out of it, I update the dry erase because what's in there? Why am I buying more things if they're in there? So shop your kitchen and then make your meal plan from there, right? That would ideally be in tandem with the planning ahead. Kind of do a little quick survey. What do you have available in your pantry? What do you have available in your fridge, freezer, garage freezer, if you have one? Can I insert a note here actually as well? A little caveat PSA helpful tip that I do, and maybe you'll find this helpful as well. So every single week before I go grocery shopping, I clean out my fridge. And when I say I clean out my fridge, I legitimately pull everything out of my fridge, wipe it all down, put everything back. I don't want a stuffed fridge. I don't want a fridge that I don't know what's in it. I don't want things behind other things, like all that leads to is a disaster of expired products. If you can't see it, you're not going to eat it. If you can't see it, you're not going to use it. So if I may, I think give this a try. Before the next time you go grocery shopping, this will come out on a Wednesday. So maybe this weekend, take an hour. It may not take an hour, but give yourself an hour. Pull out everything in your fridge. Go through all of your expired stuff. Look at the doors. Give the lids a little bit of a wipe down. Put it all back. Then you can shop from an informed position. You can shop knowing exactly what you have. I do this every week because I'm anal and I really like my kitchen to be a certain way. I want to know what exactly is in my fridge, but maybe give that a try this week. Maybe pull everything out, see where you're at. Maybe you don't have to do it every week like me because you're not bananas. But I find that super helpful. I like to have an empty fridge. I like to have the stuff that I'm going to use, and that's about it. Yes, every once in a while I'll have a random jar of open hoisin sauce. You know what I'm saying? But clean out your fridge every week before you go grocery shopping, and then that's a super easy way to shop your fridge or your kitchen because you know what's in there because you've just cleaned it out. So that is a hot tip for free. We got 8.5 here. Okay, next, we're almost done, guys. Next tip I have, easy button. Easy button your life. Maybe one of the meals that you have this week uses a rotisserie chicken. You know? You know what I'm saying? The ease of a rotisserie chicken. Maybe you splurge a little and you buy a pre-cut vegetable. Maybe you don't want to cut the squash or the sweet potato. You'll eat it, but you just buy the pre-cut. Is it more expensive? Yes, it is. But sometimes your sanity and your time is just not worth the effort or the amount of time that it's going to take. So if you can push that easy button as much as you can, take advantage of something like a rotisserie chicken. Guys, I can't tell you how much I use a rotisserie chicken. I grew up working at Loblaws. That was my first job, my first real job. I worked at Loblaws in the deli and the HMR, which is the home meals replacement, is what it was called at the time, where we had the rotisserie chickens. And that's really where the love affair started, to be honest. So I have been eating rotisserie chicken forever, but this is also kind of a leftover situation because I will come home and I will take apart that chicken, put the breast, put the legs, take everything aside, pre-chop my rotisserie chicken. So it's a grab and go kind of situation. I can throw that on a salad. I can throw that in a taco. I can throw that in a soup, whatever I want to do with it. I have it ready to go. Easy button your life, friends. Easy button this meal planning. There's going to be nights that you don't have it in you. Maybe you just eat the rotisserie chicken. Maybe you just go and you get rotisserie chicken and fries and whatever, a little salad, and that's your meal. Take advantage of these things. There's also, I know it's kind of takeout, but there's also a lot of meals like that you can kind of spruce up yourself. You could buy half finished. There's so many options. Whatever is going to work for your family, do it. Whatever works for your meal planning, do it. There's nothing wrong with hitting an easy button and buying yourself a rotisserie chicken. I would, in fact, say it's delectable. It would be silly not to. Know what I mean? Okay. The last tip, guys, boom, 20 minutes. What an episode. The last tip I have for you to become a successful meal planner is you're going to leave a little bit of room. This is not a perfect system, nor should it be. It's not a perfect system in my house, that's for sure. But you're going to leave room for the days that things happen and you're going to order takeout, right? Like sometimes you have a plan and then you come home and it goes to shit. Or sometimes you plan to do this thing, but you forgot to take it out of the freezer. Give yourself some grace. Plan a little bit of space in your meal plan. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that looks like, oh, I thought I was going to do this freezer thing and then we were going to have takeout on Saturday, but I forgot to take it out. So we switched those days. Nothing is set in stone. You are the master of your domain. the boss of your industry, the captain of your ship. You can choose whatever you want to do, but have a little bit of grace and leave yourself a little bit of room when you're doing this. This is not a perfect system, but I guarantee you, the more that you do this, if you literally consistently make a night plan, what this is the beginning of October. Let's say for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 Sundays in October, you sit down, give yourself 25 minutes, plan out your week, see how it goes. Just see how it goes. You don't have to use every single one of these tips, but just start with the planning. Write out what you're going to have every day. Not every single ingredient, but maybe it's like sometimes mine says chicken and salad, or I'll say like roast with veg. I don't know what that veg is going to be. I'll figure that out when with whatever's in season. Did I go to a farmer's market? Did I go to the grocery store? Whatever. But if I have a rough idea of what I'm making, if I know who's going to be home, I know how much I need to make, it's going to add years to your life because things are going to be so much easier. Okay, let me go through all of those one more time. I'm just going to rattle them off for you, give you a quick reminder of where we were. So, number 1, you're going to plan ahead. Do a week overview, plan ahead. Number 2, theme nights. You're going to repeat things sometimes. Maybe every Tuesday is a Taco Tuesday. Maybe every Friday is Fishy Friday. Theme nights, repeat. Number 3, we're going to utilize our leftovers. Did you make too much sauce? Can you freeze that for a later date? Is that ready to go? Figure that out. If this is something that you can make a large amount of, it's a big pot of chili, set some aside for lunches for another meal. That ties right into number 4. Your freezer is your best friend. Take advantage of your freezer. Take advantage of planning things ahead, batch cooking, having meals ready to go. Quick grab and go, pop it in the Instant Pot, pop it in the slow cooker, have your veggies pre-frozen. Boom. Bob is your uncle. I was going to say Robert is your father's brother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Repeat your family's favorites. We're not reinventing the wheel. If your family really loves beans and rice, make them beans and rice. You don't have to do something crazy and fancy all the time when we're meal planning. Put one new thing in per week, one new recipe, and then the others will be things that your family loves. 6, shop your kitchen. What do you have? And again, this ties in with cleaning out your fridge. Once a week, clean out your fridge, shop your kitchen. What do you have available to you? What's going to go bad that you want to use? What do you have in your pantry that you have too much of? Hoisin sauce, salsa that you need to take care of? Put that at, maybe you have too much salsa. Maybe you want to have a fajita night, Shop your kitchen, see what you can use that you already have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Use the easy button. Get yourself a rotisserie chicken. Use some pre-cut vegetables. Buy some half-cooked whatever and then finish it up your way. Buy a pre-made pizza crust and then make your family's own pizza. Easy button, easy peasy. Make your life easier. Nothing wrong with it. And finally, give yourself a little bit of grace. Leave room in your meal planning journey for things that come up. Leave room for takeout. Leave room for things that are going to come up, unexpected guests, whatever. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is set in stone. Friends, was that helpful? Did you find that helpful? I hope you did. This is truly these are the steps that I use every week. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you do, would you do me a huge favor and share this with people? Share this maybe on your story, tag me in it. I would love to see if you found it helpful. And if you're not subscribed, a subscription goes a huge way for me. It's not a cost. You literally just hit subscribe and then it gets added to your favorites. Same thing on YouTube. Subscribe, share, comment, all of the things. I love to read when you find these things helpful. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into this really quick episode of Things I Wish I Knew About. Now you know.